Hari Om everyone. Let's learn and contemplate today's Dhyana Yoga Shloka. Shloka from Dhyana Yoga 6.17. Yukta-hāra-vihārasya yukta-cheṣhṭasya karmasu yukta-svapna-avabodhasya yogo bhavati duḥkha-hā. But those who are temperate in eating and recreation, balanced in work, and regulated in sleep can mitigate all sorrows by practicing yoga. Yukta, moderate, āhāra, eating, vihārasya, recreation, yukta-cheṣhṭasya karmasu, balanced in work, yukta, regulated, svapna-avabodhasya, sleep and wakefulness, yogaḥ, yoga, bhavati becomes duḥkha-hā, the slayer of sorrows.
Yeah. So just to get the context, last week we talked about meditation and about the state of the mind, right? And now when we are in the transactional plane, how is that one able to achieve that state? Because we cannot sit with our eyes closed all the time. So this is the other side of that. Santoshi, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. See, last week, as you mentioned, right, we discussed about the mind. I mean, how exactly the mind, whether the mind, we only create the thoughts, and we can be a friend of the mind, we can be enemy of the mind. And today, the same mind, in order to make it flexible, it's flexible enough. There are other things which is contributing more. That is food and the exercises or whatever we say, and anything that we do in our day-to-day activities, right? You should not be overburdened or overstressed. Initially, when I say, like, suppose we are fond of eating, dosa. Eating one dosa is sufficient. Again, eating more number of dosa will create dosha in the body, which in turn will have some other problem. Similarly, I mean, whenever we do exercise in our day-to-day activities, overdoing thing will, will give rest to the body for a week, where in turn we'll not be able to, move the body to the next level. Similarly, it could be sleep, or it could be anything. It could be work. It could be in our day-to-day activities. We need to have a limitation. We need to put a limitation wherein I am not overstressed or I am not overburdened, so that when the things are in the limited way, then this body is really required to do all the activities, which in turn, in order to get the jnana or mukti also, this body is essentially required, because without the body and mind, we cannot say that I am mukta, or I have achieved, I have done something. Using this body as a sadhana, as an instrument, what I should do is I should train this body in such a way to, use it in a flexible way and not overburdening things. Anything that is overburdened, say for example, last week we had a release, and till 2 o'clock we were actually sitting, discussing with the US client, and it was very crucial, and complete 2 days I was not able to have sleep, which was overburdened. Again, my manager told to take rest. I mean, which in turn, the 2 days of effort has gone because of overburdening that entire night, which means whatever the work we do, whether it could be meditation or it could be any sadhana, it should have some flexibility and limitation. Here, Guruji talks about one story of Buddha. When Buddha left his, Rajya and kingdom, and he came out, he actually overstressed his body, because he was pointing to the body is the one which requires, a lot of no, this is if I strain this body, or if I punish this body, might be I get something. After not after not having this food for 15-20 days, he was not able to walk. And once he saw one lady with veena. So the strings of the veena should be in such a way that if it is over tightened, the string will break. Nor if it is loose, the music will not come. It should be with in the limited stage, wherein a person who actually drives that, or swings that across that particular strings, right, the fingers, the music will come fantastically. In that way, what we need to learn is, we should not actually overstrain ourselves or overburden ourselves, nor do little. It should be kind of moderate, medium, and with limited things we need to go in any aspect. It could be in our sadhana life or whatever it is. That particular thing what Krishna says about here.
Yeah, very nice, Santoshji. Yeah, that way, this verse looks very simple, can conveys the message very directly. But I feel like it's a reminder for the current times, because of in what would I say, like the social media getting into way too much
Sir,
into
use the word no, binging.
right. It's not easy to keep them away. Like, and along with the smartest phone, it's like it is after you all the time, right? So I guess it is more apt for today, I would say. And I see that as much as the adults, even the kids have a lot more gadgets around, and I find it, like, I don't know how they will be able to figure out, because what I've seen is just advising by telling doesn't help, or it doesn't have that effect. I feel everyone goes through it to realize it, which I feel it's not a good experience at the end, right?
Correct. Even as you mentioned, right, in our college days and all, we used to say, what is there? Yeah, we will sit 1 night, 2 nights, we'll read what is there. But again, sitting and overburdening ourselves over nights, we would have planned accordingly with the proper timetable and proper approach. That could have been approached, even though we know, but still we taken it as granted, and when we cross that age, only we'll come to know, yeah, we would have done this in a better way, but we have done it in a different way.
Not just the kids, and even for grown-ups, we have this binge
Yes,
watching now
yes.
going on, with tailored content chasing you, and like right. So which comes at the cost of sleep.
Correct.
Okay, so let's hear more. Satish ji, you want to share?
Yeah, Hariom.
You.
We do have 24 hours in a day, and seen a lot of articles breaking them down to 8 hours part, and how we can allocate these 8 hours into work, and the other 8 hours onto sleep, and other 8 hours into spiritual activities, and family and personal hobbies. So that's where we are getting emphasized in this particular shloka. And for each aspect, being it in work, how do we manage that efficiently? So there are many management techniques, and also how to get the stress balanced out in life, not just getting pulled away in one direction, which will actually affect our dosha, compared to the koshas, and the mental plane, and the boil level, stress level. All these have to be balanced. So having a proper work life balance and the life balance would mean all your activities in the day to day. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I couldn't hear a little bit towards the end, but yeah, but I'm getting you're talking about still balancing 24 hours with all the things.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sorry, I was not very good. Okay. I missed a mouthpiece. Okay.
I don't know, is it because of for me only, or Shubhaji, Vijayji, you were able to follow
Yeah,
clear?
yeah, there was a lot of
No, there
disturbance.
is.
No, there was a lot of disturbance.
Is it disturbance?
Yeah, mouthpiece was a little away. I didn't notice. Is it okay now? Still,
Yeah, it's okay now, Satish.
So, you have done with your contemplation, Satish. Again, you have to
okay.
repeat.
Oh, okay. Fine. Okay.
Just
Yeah, I was like breaking up the 24 hours of the day into 8 hours part. We have seen a lot of articles on that. 8 hours for the work, and 8 hours for sleep and other activities, and 8 hours of personal time with your family, hobbies, etc. That's where this shloka emphasizes on how we manage our time and also how we manage our stress, and give an equal amount to everything, so that we have our koshas balanced and also whatever.
Yeah. And like, do you get to work from home? Do you have the work from home?
Yeah, I am completely remote.
Okay, then even that boundary becomes very difficult to set.
Exactly. I'm all through 12, 14 hours onto the laptop, but need not be always present, but have to be online and have a check. If something breaks up, jump on and guide and kickstart things.
And if you get to work with teams outside India, on the other side, let's say US.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. We support 16 hours per day, my team particularly, and the customer is based in Eastern US. Yeah, telecom. It's more of you can guess if it is telecom vertical, how it is.
Krishna knew that we will be working like this. So he told that.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have to ask him, see, we are working like this now. How do you balance it? Even now, I had to it's a Sunday, but I had to finish a meeting and come.
Okay. Yeah.
From morning today, we have a customer issue, and like I've been on a call throughout.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so fortunately, I don't have any scheduled changes or cutovers or something she was saying released, nothing. So this Sunday was quite, but yesterday we got into some issue. But that was purposely brought down, it seems. So that was okay.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, we all have the challenges. It is we all want to balance, and the reality, yeah, it does swing, has wild swings. Right. Okay, let's see.
We want to balance, Sarvanji, but reality is we are not able to balance.
No, but then, yeah, we have to figure out, right?
We have to figure out. The reason is because we will go with the mindset tomorrow is Monday. I need to start the day with a lot of info, and today I need to finish my task XYZ. And the end of the day, if I see my calendar, I am still stuck with the 1 or 2 points, and again sit all night and again struggle and to get the team update and again work. This is what happening every day.
Okay, Vijayji is going to give the secret.
Yes.
And all that maybe because of someone not doing something. If everyone does it, I think we can get that.
It is because of others.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to crack the other. How to have the other not disturb us. Let's see. Krishna ji, another.
Yeah. So I had
Why we
similar
do
points. Yeah, similar points. So uh, personally, how I interpreted is like this. So balance. So this sloka talks about balance in everything. So first is food, even what we consume. Like we should have the balance. We should not overeat and or undereat this thing. And also, our body is meant to be used. The more the way you use and the moderately use, our body functions and has a longevity. So similarly, like work and rest. So rest is also important. So we cannot stretch our work, and but when I personally interpret, but sometimes I cannot avoid, or like I cannot be in that state. I have to stretch and do that happens, but still, like few things are out of control. Those things cannot be done. But whatever for comes under our bucket, and which we are completely responsible, like having eating good food and doing meditation and prioritizing the task, right? So that can be controlled, and we can have it as a balance. But external things still, in a way, like not 100%. I mean, not in a control. So that's why I'm seeing this lokas like.
Okay. Vijay ji, we are waiting. Okay. Not in our control. Still, we have to balance. You have put us
Yeah.
in a tough spot. Easily you have given this. Isha ji.
Yes, sir, Anandji. Okay. This I feel from the last slokas, I think the finally when we were speaking, you just said, it was like when it is yoga or meditation, you actually need not sit in a place and meditate. You can be anywhere doing anything. All you have to do is stop doing what you're doing, including the thoughts. The max you can do is breathe. Okay. So everything else stands still, and that is where your relaxation of mind starts. So this shloka, which says is balancing, personally, I feel in today's time and for my job, I cannot decide I will sleep this particular 8 hours, I will work this particular 8 hours, and next 8 hours I will give it to my family. I cannot decide on that personally. So, but I need to do all the three. So how do I get about doing all the three? So there are times when sometimes my work goes on still 2, 3, and sometimes I just don't have work for a weeks together. Okay, 2, 3 in the night. And so how do we balance it is, again, I feel coming to not the food part, only the balancing of the mind part. If I have to say, I'll say that, I will relax. I will relax even while I'm at work. And how do I do it is, one, same what we have learned from all the shlokas, the result is not in my hand, only the work is in my hand. So that actually takes away so much of stress from my head. Okay, when I don't expect anything either from others or from my own work, I will remove the stress part of it. I will enjoy the process of doing. And anything when we enjoy and do, it doesn't become a task anymore. For me personally, I love my job, and 24 hours if I'm on calls, it's like cold calling. Okay, I speak to 100, 200 people without faces. It's only on phone. I enjoy. Sometimes they just speak for 10, 20 minutes speaking about their in-laws or about their child or boyfriend, girlfriend. See, they just want to vent out, somebody, especially during COVID and all. I didn't mind. Some people, you have to see my chat history and my family sees it, like, how much do you talk to them? For them, it's like somebody. For me, it was like 200, 300 chats, that many calls per day.
Oh my God.
But enjoyed doing it. While I was doing it, it was not stressing me at all, because I liked giving that time. I liked doing that. So coming to that part where I want to decide, see, I have no control over things. So I cannot sit tonight. Okay, today is Saturday, 8:30, I will jot down. what is my goal for next week? I don't have control on that. What if my tummy is upset? I don't have control on so many things. So I will not put that much pressure. Personally, I will not put pressure. What if my child doesn't want to go to school and he wants to watch a movie? I cannot say, no, 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 no. Personally, for me, my job is like that, okay? So, or when I'm with him, I don't want to spoil my Sunday dinner planning out for my Monday's work. So what I'm doing, I like to dedicate my mind completely to that. That is how I want to function. So when I'm resting, and it's always, when you say that sleep is not for your body, it's actually for your thoughts. Keep quiet, don't think. Then you don't need 8 hours, you will take only 3 hours. There are people, like Sadhguru and they're, our PM and all, they sleep for very less time, short time. Because they say that, you don't need to be in that intoxicated way of rest. You can actually rest without going to coma. That's the kind of rest which you can do personally also, which is, I'm trying to, because if I don't sleep for 4-5 hours, I will 3-4 days is fine apart from that. And I know personally many sadhaks who travel, from US and all, don't have jet lag at all. They just function like that because they can just sit and rest in the plane too after flying for 24 hours. So that's like that. And when it comes to food, I feel first thing you eat food, just eat to stay alive for some time. Food is for body, and that food should be eaten in such a way consciously that it will not affect your thoughts. When we say that, it's like, don't eat heavy food, especially when you're sitting and working, so that your thoughts will get affected. When your thoughts get affected, your performance get affected. When your performance get affected, obviously you will work for longer hours. So it's all like interrelated. That's why if you balance out everything, the results will be favorable for yourself, though you not need to do anything. You just have to work on this. Like, yeah, these days they say that, don't eat non-veg. It's like taking graveyard and walking. Like, not everybody needs to eat chicken, we don't need that much protein to do a job on laptops. So that's what I think this means. When they say balance, it's not taking time out of your schedule, it's actually including everything and balancing out your life.
Very nice. It's not about, you're not looking at 24 hours, rather you're looking at a long term.
Long term, short term, I don't know, Sarananji. What do I look at it as?
Or like go with the direction of the wind. Go with the wind.
Flow, go with the flow.
Flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, go with the flow, because
Go with the flow.
True. I don't need
Surrender to the moment.
Surrender to the moment. Awesome. I think that everyone has to do it. Otherwise, it directly results in stress. If you don't surrender, done right there.
Yeah.
Once you fight,
So this is what happened to me. I mean, I tried putting up this minutes, this time, strictly do that, but it never happens. And then, okay, maybe it's something else. Sometimes would feel dejected. I mean, before coming to this space, now I understand I'll have to surrender to the flow. But sometimes is it due to my laziness also? It comes back to me as a question. But again, yeah, a mix of thoughts here.
yeah. I think my own personal experience has been the same. Being in IT, in the management role, there is no fixed time for anything, and you try to draw a boundary. That's it, right there. Like you start breaking it. So mostly it's surrender to be in the moment and give what is needed at that time. That's how for me it has been. I've been able to balance I don't know how, I don't know if I can say yes or no. Not a good judge. And someone seeing me from outside in the family definitely will say no. Because they will see me as like sitting in front of laptop for longer time. While these days, lot of things, or like more of the life is happening in the laptop, be it work or be it uh, other work online, or be it even satsang. Everything is in front of laptop, right? Yeah. Yeah, so on the screen front, yeah, that's the thing. But thanks to the school, at least, and my own aversion to the media, like we turned away from TV for long. And that much screen time is at least saved. And the food has been a change as well for me. Somehow, like slowly, um, through the young days went up, and then like with time, it has come down, and there is a good sense of understanding, thanks to the family, understanding that
No more craving.
no. Yeah. I think I feel like with age it comes down. I feel slowly. That's how my feel is. But definitely,
Wow.
if I have pushed boundaries, I can definitely see that relating to eating more or like eating fast. That directly shows up. And I guess that's what people call a stress. I don't know. Yeah, but definitely, yeah. So one reason why I like my satsang is like it keeps reminding me with such good, it gives me this knowledge and like resets and like pulls me back in, right? Yeah. That's how even my life has been. Thank you, Shubhaji.
Yeah. Krishna is pointing us towards the word yukta. Yukta means regulated. Animals are not regulated. Even animals eat, work, sleep, everything. So what is the difference between humans and animals? That is what Sri Krishna is trying to tell us here. We have to rise above all those
Shubhaji,
things.
I hear like animals actually eat what they need, and then like they don't even
Yeah, that is
back,
what, yes,
don't store it, save it. Uh,
true. So they also eat, sleep, all those things, those activities they also do. But as humans, which is something we have got, which is special, this human birth. So when we look at that, so we have to rise above all these things of work, sleep, recreation, eating, and regulate our lives in the path towards jnana and bhakti. That is how we can rise above all these lower pleasures or lower instincts, so that we can rise above everything. And that is what it says by practicing yoga. Practicing yoga doesn't mean only the yoga part, it also means jnana and bhakti. That is my understanding of the shloka.
okay, thank you. Yeah, Vijayji.
Thank you, Sarvanji. Excellent contemplation. So, oh, thank you, Sarvanji.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. Just one moment. Okay. So, I think, most of us have what we can call as or for that matter, I would have loved to listen to Shubhaji talk about, we all talked about as IT people, oh, so many things to do. But I always admire someone like Shubhaji or my wife, who have to manage the house. Unlike the so-called IT folks, who at least can seem to be very stressed because they're constantly in front of the laptop, and at least they get the some consoling words from their wives or mothers. Oh, you have such a stressful job. When I look at most of the homemakers, theirs is in the sense of work. They have usually no break. It's a 24/7. And what is that we're talking about? When we say we have to be balanced, where do we need to be balanced? What do we need to balance? What are the things that we need to balance? So first and foremost, we have two things. There is a body and there's a mind. From a body viewpoint, this is all very clear. I have to be temperate in eating. No doubt about it. So as part of some of the seva classes, I have been part of sessions where we eat only what we call as pranic food. Pranic food is nothing but food that has life energy. See, most of the food that we eat, even the so-called vegetarian food that we eat, is actually dead food. What is pranic food? That which has life. What do I mean by that? Take an example of let's say a sprout. What is the quality of a sprout? When you look at a sprout, it is sprouting. Means what?
It has life.
It has life energy in it. Whereas what you and I do in our infinite wisdom, we take that same sprout, we cook it. we put into boiling water, we cook it, and we give our children saying that, oh, this is very healthy food. So it is better than giving a meat. Why not meat? We can discuss separately. Better than giving meat, but definitely not at all the right kind of food. See, if you want a very healthy and a very sharp mind, the input that goes in should be also correct. So you cannot take a diesel and put it into a petrol car. You're going to make the petrol car go bust, right? It will not work because it is not designed for that. Likewise, what is that you and I are designed for body-wise? This body, it is designed to function well, actually, if you give it the right kind of food in a almost not much rest is needed. See, Sadhguru always gives a wonderful joke. Imagine you have a car, okay? You just now bought it. And imagine, every 6 hours, you have to put that car in a garage for the next 8 hours. Would you call it a good car? Every 6 hours, you have to put it in a garage for 8 hours. Now, that is what we are telling about this body. We have been trained to think that, hey, you have to put this in the garage called sleep for next 8 hours, 10 hours. And the reason why it is happening so is because of the nature of the practices that we have created around us. First of all of us are used to so much of eating dead food. One is the dead food and the quantity of the dead food. So more the quantity of the dead food that you and I are eating, more the body needs to move it out of the system. Whereas if you practice the habit of eating the pranic food, if the quantity of the pranic food is more and more in your diet, you can clearly see your need for sleep, physical sleep, goes down tremendously. Number one. Number two, you will feel a lot more peaceful naturally. Very, very, real. As an example, once I was in, such a session And I got a call I was there for about 2 days in a class, and I got a call one of the evening. And when I received the call, on the other side, there was a very angry voice screaming at me. How long I've been calling you and your wife? Your son is in the bus. Nobody has come to pick up. For the last 20 minutes, we've been waiting. And there are other parents waiting for this bus to move. Don't you have common sense? That voice was blasting at me. Didn't even understand where I was, what I was. Why have you not come? But thankfully, nothing happened in my mind. I simply said, oh, really sorry. I am not in town. Can I call my wife and call you back? And immediately, that voice, it went down. It said, oh, is it? Okay, sorry. Okay, I will wait for your call. So you see, most often we add fuel to the fire by reacting to that situation. And how come that thought even didn't occur? Because the mind was completely at peace. And why the mind was at peace? Because the body also was at peace. And how the body was at peace? Body was at peace because the right kind of input. So first is what we are putting to the body, we have to be very, 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 very careful.
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yes.
I just reminded of one, we all know Usain Bolt, right? Just before the race, he goes and watches everybody, and he goes and sees the person who is the calmest. And he gives a fist bump and takes the race because he wants the calmness of that other person to come to him.
Excellent.
It's the energy.
It's energy.
So when you said you were very calm, and as soon as that calmness was transferred to the other person and he also was calm, that is what I was reminded of. So every race, he would take the energy, he would give a fist bump to the person who was very calm in that surrounding.
Very nice. Very nice. So physically to the body, what we are putting is very important. And of course, in terms of indulgence, so it is not only the food that we indulge in, right? What is the other kind of food we are eating? See, we think that, what we put in the mouth is the only food that we are eating. Actually, now when you look at it from the standpoint of your mind, you're actually eating from your 5 senses. What you are seeing is also food. What you are hearing is also food. Smelling, touching, tasting, all of this is food. For what? For your body called your mind. So your body called your mind, because that is also a body. It's a sukshma sharira. It's called antakarana. This is called bahyakarana. That is called antakarana. You all know when you have seen disturbing thought, when you've seen disturbing images, or been involved with lot of thinking involving, let's say money and other things, that seems like a very disturbed sleep, is it not? You will have a very disturbed mind when you wake up. You feel as if you've not really slept well. So what kind of a food are you putting to the mind? That also has to be balanced. So now when it comes to the mind, what is that we are putting? See, there is no way to control the input that is coming in. Unless I go and sit in some isolated place, there is no way I can control the input that is coming into the mind. But what is the power you and I have is whether or not to take all the input as for me. So the trick is, or the truth is, there is no problem in the input that is coming. It is my association to that input. How we discussed in our last session, me and the mind. There is no problem if, let's say, when that angry voice was yelling at me, it was as if I was able to see it, the flow of, those, whatever the sounds that were coming, I was able to simply see that, it is an angry voice and the words that were flowing in. But there was no association to he is yelling at me. When that yelling at me comes into the picture is when all the trouble in the world begins. How can this person yell at me? When if that thought comes, and if that thought is given the fuel in your mind, then job is finished. Then everything triggers in the mind. So therefore, the simplest way to be in any situation, because you and I have to play so many roles. I really admire, when Ishaji said she has to deal with some 200, 300 calls. Some days in the evening, when there are calls, mind feels like no more I want to talk to anybody. I simply want to sit silently somewhere. But handling 200, 300 calls and still being refreshed is an admirable quality. And how that is happening? It is happening because of the attitude she may be bringing to that work. This is where when it comes to balancing, the important trick is. What is the quality that you and I need to bring? We have already may have heard this story. A person was climbing the mountain. He saw another girl carrying her brother or some child climbing the mountain. This person felt, my God, this is so difficult for a grown-up man like me. How would this child be feeling? So I told that girl, hey, why don't you put that child down and then walk? That girl said, no, I'm carrying my brother. So this person was confused. What is she talking about? I asked her to put that child down, but she's telling what that child is to her. No, I didn't ask what that child to you. I asked, put it down. See, I myself am finding it so difficult. Aren't you feeling tired? Put that child down. Walk. Again she said, no, ye mera bhai hai. This time though he lost it. He said, no, I'm not asking what the relationship between the two of you. Put that child down. She said, how can this be a burden to me? This is after all my brother. So the attitude that you and I bring to any work plays a very important role. Many of you, who have been mothers, when you gave birth, those times were really difficult. There's a new child which is waking up at whatever time, you haven't slept properly. But from where that energy came to be able to go through all that, it is in the attitude. In the attitude of, I am here to serve, I'm here to be of value. This is my child. When that feeling is there, then there is no more worry about what is happening to me and my body. And the body will naturally find the energy. If the mind is at peace, the body will figure out. That doesn't mean, so what Sri Krishna is saying is that doesn't mean that you go on pushing your body to the limits. If your mind is at peace and if you're taking the right kind of inputs to the body, then you will know when the body needs the right kind of rest. We all tend to think that 8 hours of sleep is necessary, 3 liters of water is necessary, this amount of carbohydrates and proteins is necessary. We have been conditioned to think in terms of all these quantities. Is it truly necessary? Many a times you and I don't even question. As an example, most people may believe that eating ragi balls is really good, very healthy food. No, not really. Especially you and I tend to simply sit in front of something. Ragi ball is good for somebody who is really using the body. So people may talk about an amount of protein, like how Ishaji mentioned. Is it really necessary for you and me who are mostly doing very, very mind-oriented work? So you and I have to figure out what is the nature of the work that you and I are doing. You and I mostly, especially the group that is here. Yes, Saravanan-ji.
Yeah. Many times I feel even the mental work lot of mental work uh, creates the hunger, and like where you like at least like there are times like I go and hog. Like it's not necessarily the physical work. I feel like even the mental work can drive.
Because food is a kind of like a escape route.
Hmm.
See, food brings the utmost pleasure. We are conditioned to associate food with pleasure. So you see, right from beginning, food is pleasure.
Yeah.
See, whenever somebody is angry or upset, what do? Hey, let me give him his or her sweet. Especially mothers know this, wives know this trick very well. So if they want something to be done, I'll make the favorite food of my child, and I will then go and talk when he's having the food. So like that, many a times we have associated, not many a times, we have associated the food with pleasure. So when the mind feels that I am in some tiring situation, when that through the mind that who I am, when I start thinking that I am in a tiring situation, this is not a situation that is favorable to me. It starts consuming more and more energy. How can you know? See, in any situation, just start noticing how your ears feel like, how your shoulders feel like, how your eyes feel like, how your mouth feels like. You will notice. If this is the wonderful thing, no, that story of Shankaracharya and Mandana Mishra's argument. So they both were arguing, and the judge was Mandana Mishra's wife. And the way to judge who is uh, telling the truth and who is really the winner was a simple test by her. What she did, she put mala, flower, and the condition was whoever, let's say during argument, if their flower starts diminishing the luster, then he is a loser. Why? Because how does the luster of the flower go away? By the body heat that is generated. And how the body heat is generated? By the nature of the thinking. When the nature of the thinking is me and mine, there tends to be a lot of that feeling of irritation that naturally comes in. When something of mine is being challenged, or when sometimes I may feel I'm embarrassed, I'm feeling ashamed, suddenly body heat increases. All these ears become hot and mouth dries up. So eyes start burning. So there's a increase in the body heat. So this is a very simple way for you and me to know how you and I are using the current thinking process. If the thinking process is me and mine is at stake, it is bound to create all this. So then what is that you and I need to practice? So therefore practice meditation. But to practice meditation, first of all, I have to make sure that I am giving enough time. So therefore, Sri Krishna is giving the simple tip: be moderate in the food that you're consuming. Consume the right food and also be moderate in the amount of food that you consume. That is from a body viewpoint. From a mind viewpoint also. What are you seeing? What are you binge watching? What are you hearing all the time? What is the nature of the discussion that is happening, which is coming in constantly as an input to the mind? That is also food to the mind. What food are you putting to the mind? And what is recreation? Recreation, many a times you and I may feel like, oh, I am so tired. Now let me turn on the TV and watch. Is that the recreation? It is actually you and I are constantly using the mind. The mind is getting tired, and we are now again putting some new input into the mind. So how to be able to recreate then? So recreation is when you and I do whatever you and I are doing with the service attitude, then naturally mind is at rest. That is the true recreation. Then naturally the amount of sleep needed by the body naturally reduces. Doesn't mean that it has to be completely removed, but the amount of sleep needed reduces. So this is like a virtuous cycle now. When you start meditating, you will be able to start noticing the patterns of the mind. Because fundamentally, it is the mind from where all these confusion and irritation and various changes that are happening in the body are created. We saw in the last session. It is a thought that causes the action in the body. So you and I have to, first of all, learn to notice the mind. And how do you notice the mind? You have to make it a practice. You have to give some time to the mind, to the practice called meditation. And how are you able to make time when you're constantly saying, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time? So the I don't have time is again a negative spiral. And once when you start practicing meditation, you will be able to see various patterns of thoughts and thus address them at the root itself. Rather than addressing the effect. See, okay, what food am I eating? I will control the food. It is addressing at the effect level. But what is the root of that? Why am I eating? Why am I feeling like eating more and more? Why am I consuming a kind of food more and more? What is the source of it? So like that, I'll be able to address at the source. So therefore, here Sri Krishna is giving us how to be in balance. Yogaḥ samatvam uchyate. And the fundamental balance you and I need to bring is at the mind level. At the mind level, you and I need to bring balance. And what is that balance? That balance is practicing in any situation how to accept whatever is coming and how to be in the attitude of what can I offer. This simple approach brings the mind to a balanced state. Then naturally, one by one, I can start noticing how am I eating, how am I speaking. All of this is an indication of what is happening in the mind. Please notice, when you are at peace, how does your voice come out? Versus when you are in a kind of a irritated mode, how does your voice come out? But many a times, you and I may not even notice all of this. So you and I don't even notice, am I, meaning is my mind in balance? Once when the mind is at balance, body naturally comes to a balance. So here, therefore, Sri Krishna is suggesting both the balances. But the fundamental balance you and I need to bring is at the mind level. Because it is the mind that you and I use to function in the world. Hari Om. Any questions or any additional points by anyone? Okay.
Like none today.
So there are two possibilities, Sarvanji. There is a what we call as a OTH transmission or a ITH transmission.
Oh.
OTH is over the head or over, yeah. ITH is into the heart. So I do hope and pray it was a ITH.
It is Vijayji. Vijayji, I have one problem not problem. Actually, I don't know how to handle one situation. Okay. I had this the most notorious child, no, he feels that the chicken is born to be eaten only. There is no purpose of chicken other than to eat it. All other animals, he will spare. Okay, because I'll say, try to be this, try to be veg. But chicken, he'll say, it has to be going with the rice, it has to become biryani. That's it, no other way. It's like everything else what Krishna says, I will listen. But this one thing, no. So finally, okay, now when we go to trips and all, we will include that, on the way, some famous temple and all, I'll take him and go. So obviously, he cannot eat. So if that particular place has a very nice restaurant and he feels like eating, and I'll say, no, we have to go to temple. Like that, I will stop him like that, it was not like I have to, I'm making excuse, but yeah, usually when you go to temple, you don't eat and go. So this time we went to Tirupati and came. So after coming, I put that laddu. He said next day, 3 days over, Mama, I want to eat chicken biryani. I said, no. Laddu has come out 24 hours. You're not supposed to eat. I just made up some story. Then after 2 days, I said, no, laddu is not yet distributed. So still you cannot eat. So after a month, he said, please don't keep so much rule with laddu. I will not eat when going to temple. I said, okay, fine. So somebody has to say no. Then I was worried that too much of restriction, he shouldn't hate coming. He shouldn't hate practicing. It shouldn't, teenage years, it shouldn't be a force on him. So I said, let's forget everything. Whatever you want, you do. You want to eat and come, eat and come. End of the day, your purity of your heart and mind is important. Forget your body. So he himself came about saying that, no, I will not eat while going to temple, but don't keep this rule of, coming home and taking 24 hours more and all. So I have no idea. I have shown him video. I'll say that poor chicken also has babies. That has families. Everything I tried, but no. What do? I'll just leave him to be as he is.
So one thing is, see, the kindness and the compassion is inherent in all. So you can hope and pray that whatever you are doing, which is showing some videos of how the chicken is killed and how they scream. I don't know whether that has been shown. So that usually invokes the feeling of I don't want to do this. Because most people who eat non-vegetarian do not see the animal being killed. They see it dressed nicely, because it is packaged nicely. And especially when it is packaged nicely and with all the other spices, it becomes very deep-rooted taste pattern or deep-rooted samskara of taste. So any deep-rooted habit pattern takes time to come out of the system. And there are only two ways. One is right clarity. Once when the right clarity comes, then naturally I myself will be able to examine. And what is the right clarity? See, is it okay if I show a couple of slides more and if I take 10 more minutes, or should we discuss this in the next session? There is a small deck I have, Ishaji, which shows how the human body's design is and what is the right kind of food, without getting into vegetarianism is good or non-vegetarianism is bad, without getting any of that. It simply is based on the factual evidences. Yeah, so I'm asking whether we should discuss that in today's session or should we do it in the next session?
I am okay with Vijayji, but I think others, I'm not sure.
I am also okay, Vijayji.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If that is the case, then let me just bring that up. Just give me a moment, please. So this is what is the right food for you and me? So this is purely looking at it from a very physical viewpoint, body viewpoint. First of all, if you ask the question, why do you and I eat food? Naturally, it is to get energy. But most often, we tend to think more the food, more the energy, right? That's what we tend to think.
Calories.
Right? So because, we tend to think in terms of calories, right? But let me ask you a simple question. Let's say you go to all these marriages or these nice little parties, no? There, you have variety of food, all this buffet, 10-course meal, 20-course meal, whatever. After all this 10-course meal, 20-course meal, after having eaten, when you come back, and if I ask you, I'm going to give you one important math problem, are you willing to say solve? Are you in a mood? Will you be able to? Or will you be in a mood even to have a meaningful exchange? What is it you and I feel like most often after having eaten such
Sleepy.
sleep, right?
Yeah, sleep.
So therefore, what is the purpose of the food? Okay, you and I need energy for what? For sleeping. Is that what you and I are eating? For sleeping again? Then why do I need food? So food should be therefore something that makes me feel energetic, makes me do things, right? And there are three sources of energy that you and I consume. There's solid, liquid, and gaseous, right? What is solid? Simple. Whatever, idli, dosa, masala vada, whatever, right? All of that is solid, kind of like a wood. Whereas liquid is water, juices, and so on and so forth. Gases, you and I are constantly breathing. And if you look at the composition of the body, about more than 50% of our energy requirement comes from breathing. That's why right from beginning of what we call as birth till the end, what we call as death, human being is constantly designed to breathe. That's why we say to know whether somebody is dead or not, we check the breath. If no breath means prana hoitu. Prana. Okay, so prana shakti is what is coming in from the air. And that prana shakti is coming because the body has been designed to consume prana from the air. If all the prana was needed for the body was only from the solid food, you and I would be in even more bigger troubles. Because the effect of this solid food is only about 25% of our energy requirement. And the other 25% is coming from liquid, right? Like water and other things. Now, what is most important that we just now established that is needed in our food? We need it to be fresh. It needs to bring some kind of a vital energy. You and I should feel like bouncing. Oh yeah, I want to do this. That is why you are consuming food, because that is what you mean by energy. But the nature of the food, is it bringing energy? Also, food should also help us heal, is it not? If the food is compounding some issues, then it is not a good food. So this is what you and I need: some freshness, vitality, and healing capacity. Now, this is what the pranic food does to you and me. What is prana? Prana means life energy, which has all these different words in different languages. In Chinese, it is called as chi. In Japanese, it is called as ki. In English, there is no good single word. So therefore, fresh food, alive food, lively food, all this energetic feel, all this is what you need to call. Okay. But simply it is pranic food. Okay. And the traditional classification in the Indian Ayurvedic system about the food is, food can be classified into three categories: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Sattvic food is something that makes you peaceful, both in the mind and in the body. Please notice, sometimes you should do these experiments by yourself. Otherwise, it simply becomes an information that I'm passing. Just give up your tea or coffee for a few days. And after a few days, just have a little of it. You will know what it is doing to your body. You just give up all this highly spicy food. Again, to give up, you and I should not go for immediate stop. So because body will not like it. So you kind of taper it down. And then you maintain that practice for a few days. Then you will see, after that, when you eat, you will know by yourself. But anyway, coming back, food can be classified into this peaceful, irritable, and lazy. Rajasic food is that which makes you irritable. Like, for example, if you take chot mensinkai, okay, so all this green chotu ones, especially in Chikmagalur side, you find this chutani, but that is so spicy. Now imagine, that chutani mensinkai, you just rub it on your skin. Is it a nice feeling? It's a very irritable feeling, no? Now imagine that going into your body. What it is doing? It is creating the same kind of feeling inside that, and it gets digested into all the cells. Then it is creating the same kind of feeling in all the cells. And along with that, you and I these days are also wonderfully indulging ourselves in watching Netflix. What is that we are watching in Netflix? Some murder, some rape, or some heated debate, or somebody yelling and screaming. Now that information is also getting digested into the cells. So this is how irritable quality is developing in each one of us. Bangalore used to be called as pensioners' paradise. In some people used to call it as, oh, it's a very lazy place. People don't get angry at all. Bangalore people used to be, oh, Bangalore people they don't get angry at all. But these days on the road, you will see road rage. Small, if somebody cuts you, somebody honking, and immediately shouting, showing fingers, the irritability is increasing. It is to do with the nature of the food also. Tamasic food is that which makes you and me lazy. Like all this fridge food, no? We keep in the fridge. I cooked it day before yesterday and now I heated it. Just eat it. So it is stale food. And the stale food's quality is to bring about staleness in the body. So like that, food can be classified into peaceful, irritable, and lazy. So of course, this is how the food can be classified. If you notice the food that is in the red zone, it is nothing to do with the vegetarian or non-vegetarian. It is what is the kind of the impact it has on the body, right? So now let us look at, this is an example of various kinds of dishes that you can do with the so-called pranic food. And please notice one thing. Please notice one thing here, little carefully. Look at the colors of all these food. And look at the color of the meat. Meat is usually only one color. That dead meat is usually red. Okay. And unfortunately, some people want to create more and more red, and they go for all kinds of torturous ways of killing those animals. If some people want to eat that so-called pork, no, what they do is they hang the pig and they beat the pig and it is screaming, and then they strip the skin and then they murder that. And during that process, they say that because the pig is so sad, no, and its heartbeat is increased, no, it is pumping blood into all the parts. So now it is red meat, so nice. So that is the nature of, what is that you are eating? What is that has gone into that bloodstream and into those cells of that pig? Which animal wants to be killed? Please tell me, which animal wants to be killed, especially when it is being beaten up and treated like that cruelly? So there is a fear hormone, there is a tension hormone. All of those hormones are injected into the bloodstream of that animal. And that is what has got lodged into that red blood meat. And that is what is being consumed by that human being. Now, all those feelings are going and getting digested into the body. Whereas look at the nature of the color here. Did you know that your organs are in different colors? Each of your organ has different colors. And look at the wonderful nature of some of these grains. Look at this, for example, for a reason it is called a kidney bean. It is in the shape of your kidney. Look at the color of these. And when you look at simply, don't take my word, simply when you arrange them and when you look at them, don't you feel nice? Simply by looking at the colors.
Sir, it's dinner time.
Isn't it? So it simply makes you feel nice. And especially when you put it on a plantain leaf and look at all those colors, it suddenly triggers right kind of juices, right kind of hormones to get secreted in your body. So what food is good for your body? So you have to look at it from the standpoint of the design of the body. What is the fuel you will put into a petrol car? Of course, you will answer petrol. Why? If you put diesel, that engine is not designed for it. Diesel is a higher density fuel. And when that higher density fuel gets into a petrol engine, which is designed for a lower density energy creation, it will not work. And that's why if you notice, diesel cars and diesel vehicles have heavy weight because you need a higher capacity engine. Just like that, what is the nature of the fuel that this body is designed for? Now look at it like this. A comparison of a vegetarian and non-vegetarian animal from various organs standpoint. The teeth, how the teeth of a non-vegetarian animal and a teeth of a so-called vegetarian animal. Look at the teeth of a vegetarian animal. You and I don't have a canine. You know how a tiger or a wild animal actually eats? It bites into that, it pulls it away, and it simply gulps it actually. So it doesn't chew like you and me. Whereas you and me have a teeth which is designed for chewing, like all this rubbing, no? The dosa rubbing or idli rubbing, like that rubbing is necessary. And that too, especially our elders would have told in your family, rub it for 20 times, rub it for 30 times, then only eat. It is good for you. So rubbing is very important because you have lot of important hormones secretions that help in digestion, which get secreted in the mouth itself. So the saliva, human saliva is very important. Therefore, see, as a simple experiment, you can do this. Take a small plate of rice, okay, a small plate, like how you put it in front of a god, no? Take 2 plates. One plate you keep as is. In another plate, you simply take some amount of your spit and you put it into that plate and close both of them. After about 4 hours, go and smell both these. You will know for yourself. The one where you have added your saliva, how it smells versus the one where you have not added your saliva. So saliva is very important for digestion. And look at the way animals drink, especially non-vegetarian animals, whether it is dog or cat or all these, they lap the liquid. Whereas vegetarian animals, carnivorous animals, will lick. Then the intestine, very important to understand the intestine design. The length of the intestine or the length of the so-called stomach as an overall length of the body of a carnivorous and a herbivorous. A carnivorous animal, it is usually same length, okay? Whereas for a vegetarian animal, it is roughly about 4 times the length. If let's say, for example, if you are about 6 feet and if your stomach is laid out straight, it's almost 24 feet. Imagine that much has been packed in this. And notice the design of this. See, it goes in all these swirls and look at the amount of distance it has to travel. So actually, did you know that what you eat today completely comes out of your system 48 hours later? It takes about 48 hours. So till 48 hours, in some form and fashion, it is moving through your body. Why it is important? Why it is important? Please understand, when something dies, okay, let's say there is a rat that is dead. In about couple of hours, how the smell is? It's called as putrefaction. There is something called as a putrefaction that starts happening as soon as the body dies. There are these bacteria which starts decomposing that body, and that whole process is called as putrefaction. And that putrefaction is the one which emanates that smell. That's why, when somebody is dead, usually there is a ritual. Oh, we have to bury them or burn them within 4 hours, 6 hours, whatever. At least in most of the families, very quickly, that body has to be burnt or buried. Why? Because of this reason. That person was looking so nice, but the dead body, as soon as it starts smelling, it starts bloating up. People don't like to go towards it. So therefore, the elders have made this rule that burn or bury it within those many hours. And that's why there's a lot of flowers put, a lot of incense is also put, so that you don't start noticing it very quickly. Within about 2 hours, the putrefaction begins. Now, imagine that so-called meat which goes into the stomach. It takes about 48 hours for it to completely pass out of your system. So it starts putrefying. Putrefaction means what? A lot of acids are getting generated out of that putrefaction. And those acids are very intense acids. And those acids start burning the stomach lining. So some forms of intestinal problems and health issues and cancers, especially colon cancers, are found mostly in non-vegetarian people. The digestive juice that human beings have actually has a lesser acidity, whereas non-vegetarian animal digestive juice, see, when you go inside the stomach, your stomach produces acid in order to digest the food. And acids have a degree of acidity. Very acidic means usually in the litmus test, it is given as number 1. And as number increases, it is lesser and lesser in acidity. The acidic level of a non-vegetarian animal is very high. And that's why they don't necessarily have to chew. They simply gulp and it gets digested, and their body length is also very small, and usually it gets ejected out of their system very quickly. Whereas for human beings, it is not the case. First and foremost, the digestive juice, the acidic level is not enough for digesting the meat. And a lot of meat remains actually, and it starts putrefying in about 2-3 hours. And that causes a lot of other acids to get generated and so-called bad bacteria to be generated inside the stomach. And it starts creating various kinds of ailments. Look at the nature of the fingers. You know, your and my fingers are not meant for clawing in and tearing something apart. It is not meant for that. And look at the way you and I perspire versus all these non-vegetarian animals perspire. And the vision, you and I don't have a night vision, but whereas these meat-eating animals, most meat-eating animals have night vision. Fighting, very important. When you're hungry, do you think you are willing to get into an argument or a discussion? When you're hungry, usually how you feel? Usually angry. Why? Because you want some food to go. Whereas most of the non-vegetarian animals, they hunt when they're hungry. Which means what? The nature of their very nature is when they're hungry is when they go and find a food and they catch it. And what kind of food they catch? They catch old and maimed, because that is what they hunt, no? That is the easy prey. And usually you and I, vegetarian people are vegetarian animals. When you look at a cow, how is it eating? Is it really in a hurry? Is it really worrying about looking around? When you give whatever you give, no, slowly it picks, slowly it is eating, slowly it is munching. Whereas, have you noticed how a non-vegetarian animal eats? Please notice, go to a zoo, notice how a tiger eats. As soon as the meat is given, suddenly it is eating. And if some other tiger is coming, it is growling. Oh. Dogs also. All these animals, they're very, very protective about their food. And I've heard that even non-vegetarian people, no, especially when they go to places where they serve non-vegetarian food, they want to first go in the line because that is when all the big pieces are available. And they collect it and they want to go to some other corner and eat it immediately. So in a way, similar tendencies develop. So again, the point is,
Vijayji, you made them sound so funny. Go to a corner and eat.
No, because why corner? Because you don't want to be seen when you're consuming that. Because you want to enjoy it yourself. That is what a non-vegetarian animal is doing, no? It is not willing to share. It wants to consume itself. Is it not? That's why it's growling. It wants to shoo away. So, like that, when you simply notice the design of the body is not designed like a non-vegetarian animal. It is designed to be more like a cow or a goat, is it not? So, this body's design, if you simply go by the body's design, and if you simply go by the physicality, you will know what is the right food to eat. And of course, there are many other spiritual reasons. See, what is mamsa? It is called as mamsa, right? Non-vegetarian food is called as mamsa in the Indian languages. Mamsa means ma saha, means I am willing to offer myself also in a similar way, which means you are getting into a karmic contract. What you are consuming, you are getting into a karmic contract. See, when you are killing a non-vegetarian animal, it is screaming, begging for its life. Which non-vegetarian animal, whether it's a chicken or a goat or a cow or a pig, which animal wants to be killed? None of these animals. But the vegetarian kingdom is not like that. The fruit, please notice the nature of the fruit. Inside the fruit, there is a seed. So in a way, the fruit is saying, please take me, enjoy me. And then you and I don't like to enjoy that seed. You and I usually spit it out. Tha! And it says, thank you very much. Why? Because from that, a new life emerges. But from a dead meat, will a new life emerge? No. So, and you and I don't feel like crying or shouting when we are cutting vegetables or fruits. Whereas a animal, most people, that's why they don't want to see animal being butchered, because they cannot consume. So like that, when you simply notice all these simple day-to-day facts, you will know what is the right food. And I do hope and pray that the right food is consumed and the right qualities will develop, because the nature of the mind and the nature of the body is a function, has a deep connection to the food that we are eating. All kinds of food.
Sir, can you show that negative impact food slide once?
Yeah.
Last weekend.
Yeah. Oh, tea, coffee is there.
See, that's where Shri Krishna has also given you a thing. In moderate. See, now this is the important thing. What is moderate? What is moderate? So, if that particular thing is there or not, you're okay, then you're okay. If that thing is not there, you are getting anxious or you are getting agitated, then you are not okay. If the coffee and tea, without coffee and tea, I cannot even function. I must have told you.
I have not reached that stage.
I've told you one
I'm
joke.
okay.
I've told you one joke, no, that my Guruji has told. Apparently, he had a friend and he was traveling outside of India, and he was carrying a bundle of some particular newspaper. And he asked, hey, why are you carrying this newspaper? Ayo, don't ask me, da. Hey, but why are you carrying this newspaper? That too old. Won't you get fresh newspaper there? No. The thing is, in the morning, no, when I go to toilet, I need one cigarette and newspaper. And I found that only this newspaper works for me. So like that, dependency, if you are dependent, then, you need to see. If you're okay, it is there, okay. It is not there, you're okay. Then, you have reached that balance level. So, but coming back, Ishaji, to your question, I know that, working with a teenager, how it can be. So, what I showed you, you were able to peacefully listen to me and laugh with me, and it may be easy to you. right? But for that child, no. So therefore, first is see whether the reason works. And what I gave you is reasons, right? Reasoning, right? And a deeper force or a deeper energy is feeling.
Yeah.
And how do you generate the feeling? Feeling is inherent, that especially feeling of kindness is inherent. And see how to bring about that gentleness and kindness in that child, and it will naturally see, because children are naturally kind and gentle. They just haven't been exposed. I know I'm taking too much of time, but if you all permit me, can I show one more video?
Go ahead, Vijayji.
You are also spending time. So
No. It is untadiable urge for me to share. So I just want to show all of you one wonderful video. This child is my guru.
I think you have showed us that one who was crying, that one.
Ah,
I showed that and all, Vijayji. Everything I tried.
and the thing is, no, Ishaji, it is not like you'll simply work by showing. See, there is a certain if you want to call it as, there's a certain method to the madness, right? So that is where, what you are doing is perfectly okay. Slowly having a discussion, exposing the child to different situations. So let's just listen to this. It's a short video, and then we can continue.
So what will we do if we miss eating chicken and meat?
I don't miss eating chicken and meat.
How about fish?
Fish?
Yeah.
Fish? Is it an animal?
Yeah.
I won't eat that either.
Oh my God. So what?
I won't eat animals.
Okay. So what do you want to eat? What kind of food do you want to eat?
Anything's on the table, but not animals.
Why do you feel sorry for animals?
Because they're nice, and I know that we cook them sometimes, which is not very nice, and I know we like to eat animals that we cook, but that's not nice for them.
Yeah. Do you think they suffer?
I think that they don't really like being cooked in the oven.
So this is not a taught behavior. It is quite natural in you and me, because kindness is inherent. You and I feel for others naturally. When someone is in pain, you naturally feel for it. It is just that sometimes you and I may have become creatures of the habit that we have cultivated. So therefore, one is to see how to taper that habit. And to taper the habit, reasoning may help. To taper the habit, right kind of understanding definitely helps. To taper the habit, sometimes this kind of a miraculous what I call as opening of the heart. When the heart is open, you naturally know. And how does the heart open? When sometimes it's a magical, mystical power. When you see someone in pain or in this kind of a situation, you naturally feel for it. So like that, these are the ways, Ishaji.
I'll try everything. I'll try again, Vijayji, because I feel sad for all the animals. That poor chicken also, you can feel sad, but no.
Ishaji, I have a story. I was just similar to your son only. Again, I haven't, not today, might be next week I'll share.
Yeah, sure.
And when you were telling, right, I was just my old images were coming in front of me. I was also very stubborn.
The
And
worst, no, Santoshji, he feels the purpose of chicken is to be eaten. I'm like, they have other purpose also.
even my yeah. I mean, anyway, I'll share this story next week.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vicky.
All right. Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you for
Is that the slide is shareable?
this one.
Yeah, the one that I showed.
This particular slide, Satish ji.
I mean the deck, if okay.
Sure. I will share. Yeah.
Thank you. Hurry.
All right. So, Hari Om.